I'm 77 years old. I'm saying that plainly because at this age, numbers stop being trivia and start becoming warnings. You don't count years anymore. You measure what's left. Most mornings I wake up before the sun, not because I have somewhere to be, because sleep doesn't hold me the way it used to. When the house is quiet like that, the things you avoided your whole life finally get a turn to speak. I'm not saying this for sympathy. I don't need forgiveness. I'm saying it because I finally understand what fear took from me, and there isn't much time left to pretend it didn't matter. I live alone now, not in a dramatic way. Just a small house with too many rooms that don't get used. The clocks still tick. The walls still stand. But everything echoes. Even my own footsteps sound like they're asking questions I waited too long to answer. When you're young, fear doesn't look like fear. It looks like common sense. It sounds reasonable. It wears responsibility like a badge. It tells you to wait, to be careful, to not risk what you already have. I listened because it whispered. And whispers are easy to live with. In my 20s, people described me as steady, dependable, reliable. I took pride in that. I didn't chase big dreams. I didn't quit jobs impulsively. I paid my bills. I showed up. Dependable men don't leap. They don't wander. They don't invite embarrassment or uncertainty into their lives. I told myself change was for people who could afford mistakes. I had a job early on that wasn't terrible. It wasn't good either. It was the kind of job you explain by saying, "It's fine. Same clothes, same route, same faces, every day." I called that stability. I called that success. I didn't hate my life enough to leave it. And that's how fear wins. There were moments, though, small ones. Standing at a bus stop overhearing someone my age talk about moving cities. Sitting at a dinner table while a friend described a risk they were taking, their eyes alive in a way mine weren't. I felt something then. Not envy, more like a tightening in my chest. I told myself they'd regret it. I said that often. They'll regret it. That was how I protected myself, from wanting more. I married young. Not out of passion, if I'm honest. Out of timing. It made sense. She was kind. We got along. We didn't fight much. We also didn't talk deeply. I thought that meant we were mature. I thought avoiding discomfort was the same as building peace. Once, early on, she asked me if I ever wanted to live somewhere else. Somewhere warmer. Somewhere new. I shrugged and said, "Why would we?" I thought I was being practical. I didn't realize I was closing a door that never reopened. When we had children, fear learned a new language. Responsibility. Every risk suddenly felt selfish. I worked longer hours. I stayed later. I chose overtime instead of dinners because it sounded noble. I told myself I was doing it for them. And maybe part of me was. But another part was relieved. Work gave me an excuse to stay exactly where I was. I missed things, not catastrophes. Small things. School plays I assumed wouldn't matter. Weekends I postponed. Conversations that began with, "Can we talk?" and ended with, "Not tonight." I believed there would always be more time. That was my greatest illusion. The years passed quietly. Promotions came. Paychecks grew. The house got bigger. The calendar filled. From the outside, it looked like progress. Inside, it felt like standing still while life moved on without me. Friends didn't leave in anger. They just faded. I stopped calling first. I stopped saying yes. Routine replaced connection. I told myself that was adulthood. My wife changed too. I didn't notice at first. She grew quieter. Not bitter. Not angry. Just distant. We functioned well. We shared tasks. We shared silence. I assumed that's what long marriages became. I didn't realize we were both waiting for the other to speak. She died when I was 68, not suddenly. Illness, the kind that gives you time to prepare, which is cruel in its own way. I told myself I'd finally be present, that I'd say everything I'd been postponing for decades. I didn't. Old habits don't loosen their grip just because time is short. I still avoided difficult conversations. I still assumed there would be tomorrow. There wasn't. After the funeral, people told me I was strong. I nodded. Strength was familiar. Strength meant not breaking, not needing, not changing. But alone at night, in the house we'd shared for decades, I realized something terrifying. I didn't know who I was without routine. Retirement followed. Another ending I thought I'd prepared for. I hadn't. Without work, there was nowhere left to hide. The days stretched, the silence settled, and the questions arrived. Quietly, patiently. What did I actually want from my life? That's a painful question to ask at 70. Looking back, I saw it clearly. How often I chose the familiar over the meaningful. How many times I said no, not because I believed in it, but because I was afraid of what yes might demand. Fear didn't destroy my life in one dramatic moment. It wore it down gently, year after year. There were things I always planned to do later. Write, travel, apologize, ask questions I was afraid of the answers to. Later became never without me noticing. My children are grown now. We talk, politely, sometimes warmly. There's a distance I can't cross anymore. Not because they don't love me, but because I taught them, without realizing it, that presence wasn't guaranteed. That lesson lasts. I used to think regret came from failure, from trying and falling short. I was wrong. Regret comes from hesitation, from swallowed words, from doors you never touch because you're afraid they might open. At 77, clarity is sharp. There's no room left for pretending. I see now that fear disguised itself as responsibility, as patience, as being sensible. What it really did was make my life smaller. Some things can't be fixed. Conversations that will never happen. Versions of myself that never existed. I grieve those quietly, not every day, but often. If you're younger than me and listening to this, I won't tell you what to do. I wouldn't have listened either. I'll only tell you this. Time feels abundant right up until it isn't. Comfort can become a cage, and fear rarely announces itself honestly. I thought avoiding pain would keep me safe. It just kept me small. My days are simple now. I water the plants. I read. I walk slowly. I remember. There's a strange peace in honesty, even when it arrives late. I don't hate my life. I'm grateful for parts of it. But I see it clearly now. And clarity has weight. I don't know how much time I have left. None of us do. I only know that speaking honestly is the one change I didn't postpone. And I wish, more than anything, that I had made it sooner.